You ever sit down and look at pictures when your kids are younger and older? One of my kids is graduating. And it made me think of something that saddened me. If my kids were in a concentration camp, Americans wouldn't give a damn. If my kids were the victims of a school shooting, this country wouldn't care. If my kids were homeless because we got on hard times, this country wouldn't give a damn. And it made me think about the last election in 2024. And it made me question, what do Americans actually love? It's this. A piece of paper with cotton woven inside of it. You know what's ironic on the back? It says, "In God we trust." It should say, "In money we trust." In 2024, 77 million people voted for a man that rapes women because he promised you this: more money. We had an insurrection. Officers were beaten. The entire world saw it. He pardoned 1,600 people that beat police officers. 4 took their lives and 1 died the next day, and many have long-term disabilities. But he promised you money. Literally is actively defending child molesters. Grown men that molested 15-year-old girls. But he offered you money. He's a convicted felon, but he offered you money. This is our God. This is what we love more than Americans. And it's interesting. When you see the reaction from Republicans about this $1.8 billion slush fund to give people that beat officers that were pardoned. So they beat police officers, went through the court system, were found guilty. Many of them pled guilty. Then you have a rapist that gets elected president, a convicted felon, who pardons all those people. Their charges are expunged. And now they can sue the government for money. And that, now you see MAGA upset. Now you see Republicans upset. Why? It proves my point perfectly. When we all sat there and watched officers get beaten, you didn't care because you didn't give a damn about their lives. You didn't care that many of them that took their lives, and Officer Sitnik, will never see their families again or their kids. They'll never be there for birthdays or anniversaries. Never. Ever, ever, ever. But he promised you this. Now that your tax dollars that he promised you are being used for those people, now you're upset. Now you're pissed. That is exactly what's wrong with this country. And I'm going to take it one step further for people that didn't vote for this rapist, white supremacist. While all this stuff is happening and you acknowledge it's happening, you're not willing to be uncomfortable because of money. 8 million people out of 340 million people, that's it. That's all we can do on No King's Protest on a Saturday? With children in concentration camps eating moldy bread while little girls are trying to take their lives with plastic forks, while 2 U.S. citizens are murdered by ICE agents, while off-duty police officers are being picked up because they're black. We've bombed Iran, murdered 170 schoolgirls. The economy is going down the toilet. He's going to spend $1.7 billion for these criminals, $1 billion on his ballroom. He's golfing probably about half of his time right now in office. And all you can do is have a whole 8 million people on a Saturday. You know why? Because you're not willing to do what's necessary to stop this. A general strike is the only way that's going to fix this. But you know what I hear? But Paul, I need this. I need money. Paul, I need money. I need money. I can't afford to. Paul, I need money, money, money. Paul, I need money. We all need money to survive and buy bills. I get that. If your kid, if you were doing what I was doing and sitting on your couch, and your kids were in a concentration camp, and I told you, I'm not going to fight for you because I need money, what would you say to that? If your kids were the victims of a school shooting, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want my boss to be upset at work because I might lose money? What if your dad was Officer Sitnick and I voted for him because I needed money? How would you feel? Because that's what's happening right now. We're using money as an excuse not to do anything in this country. If that's not the most American thing, then I don't know what is. It's a shame. Money is our God. And that is heartbreaking. You know, people that are black in this country don't have the luxury of hiding behind money. They've been treated like absolute dog crap since 1619. And I'm offering a solution to go on a general strike to shut the system down. Look at what's happening in Cuba right now. What's happening to them is horrendous. They don't have any fuel to function as a country. That same principle, metaphorically, applies here. This is what fuels our government. Every day you go to work, you fuel that system. Every day you show up and participate in society and go to work and spend money at stores and food and movies, you fund this government. And too many Americans say, I'm not going to stop funding it because I need to maintain my quality of life. Because I need money. That's why America is not great. We are unwilling to sacrifice our personal comfort. And you know the most ironic part is that white people don't even want to admit it. Because since 1619, this is exactly what black people have lived. It is. Literally, black people were hanging from trees with ropes. They died on ships coming over here to serve the lazy white man that didn't want to do the job themselves and threw their bodies into the water. And bull sharks would follow the slave routes and eat them. Literally, they weren't even worth a whole white man. This country was founded by white supremacists that own black people like cattle. And then white people for 400 years sat around saying, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. I need money. That is the most American thing. And then we're still going to celebrate 250 years of America in its great whiteness. We're the best of what? What are we great in? Selfishness? Selfishness. That's it. Being whores to capitalism. What are we great in? Incarcerations, military spending, gun violence, and white supremacy. Wow, great job, America. You won't even give a damn while children in concentration camps right now being racially profiled just because they're not white. And the only way this country is going to care, especially for MAGA, is when they suffer the effects of their selfishness and they lose their jobs. You know why? Because the thing they really love is this. And for people that didn't vote for this white trash president, your silence is complicity. Just like the same silence we've done to white people. Because you care more about this. You're not willing to sacrifice your comfort. You're not willing to go on social media and Facebook in Instagram. You're not willing to talk to your friends and family because you don't want to be uncomfortable. That is white privilege embodied. Until Americans actually start loving Americans, then $1, then ain't nothing going to change. And maybe that's what America needs. Maybe America needs a kick in the ass. Maybe we all need to burn it to the ground. Maybe everyone needs to lose their jobs and their health care and their cars and not afford groceries, because maybe then we'll give a damn about Americans instead of a goddamn dollar, the God of America. Have a white day.